They laughed. Oh, did they laugh? The smug headlines, the late night clips. Schumer and his pals thought that they had pulled the ultimate stunt, forcing Trump's big, beautiful bill to crawl through endless red tape while they cracked jokes on prime time. They mocked the man who once promised the biggest tax cut in history, the same man who they said could never pull NATO back in line, the same man who they swore could not bring America roaring back after the mess they left behind. But while they were busy laughing, Trump was busy winning. And tonight, today, whenever you happen to be watching the show, they are not laughing anymore, because just when Chuck Schumer thought he had stalled out President Trump's entire plan, the White House unleashed the wildest move yet. A move that is so freaking bold, so perfectly timed. It didn't just break the internet, it broke the entire blockade. So you've seen the headlines, Daddy's home, right? The official rap video from the White House. Some said it was just trolling, some said it was a meme, but what they didn't see, what they couldn't see, is how that one viral drop turned a stall into a surrender. And it pushed President Trump's record-smashing tax cuts right back onto the fast track. So, guys, I'm going to show you exactly how this happened, how NATO's daddy moment went nuclear, how Schumer's cheap trick backfired in his face, how President Trump's team played 4D meme chess right in front of the world, and how this sets up the biggest middle-class payday in American history. All right, guys. So, and of course, if you appreciate the news updates, you got to hit the like button and subscribe. Okay, so let's rewind the tape to the moment that literally changed everything. Because to understand how Schumer's petty little stunt blew up in his face, you need to know how one word, yes, just one word, turned from a so-called joke into the knockout punch that nobody in Washington saw coming. So picture it, right? It's the NATO summit, not some backroom handshake, but the world stage. President Trump is there, staring down Europe's top brass, reminding them in plain English, if you want America's help, you're going to have to carry your own weight. And you know what? They listened because they had no choice. Then came the spark that literally set the internet on fire. Secretary General of NATO himself, Mark Rutte, looked straight at Trump and said, he said what no other global leader has said to an American president on record. He said, daddy. He literally called him daddy, not just sir, not Mr. President, not commander, but daddy. Okay. This is the Secretary General of NATO himself. And not in some recording live in front of reporters. Like, I would never do that personally. I'm just saying. Reporters didn't even know what to do with that. Like, for one split second, the entire press pool, they sat stunned. Like, did he just call him daddy? Because it said out loud what the world quietly knew. Under President Trump, America is back in charge. The days of apologizing to Europe for being strong, those days are long gone, okay? Those are over. The days of footing everyone's bill while everyone's making fun of America behind closed doors, those days are over too. And President Trump, in classic Trump fashion, he did not flinch. He did not mumble or sidestep. He smiled. He leaned into the mic and told the world, he said it very lovingly. He said it very affectionately, not bragging, just owning it, because that's what real power looks like. There's no panic. There's no spin, just a grin and the truth. And then, just to kind of put the cherry on top, Marco Rubio standing next to him, the same Marco Rubio who's usually all business and no jokes, completely lost it. The man who once ran against Trump, trying to out-debate him, literally doubled over laughing, because even he knew that word daddy wasn't an insult. It was a slip that literally told the truth. Trump's the father figure of the NATO, pulling squabbling kids apart when the grown-ups just can't, right? So, but here's the part that so-called experts just didn't get. When they laughed, when the media clipped it, mocked it, spun it into late night, one-liners, they handed this White House one of the biggest free gifts of the year, because while the old DC crowd sees memes of jokes, Trump's team sees them as weapons. So what did the Trump administration do? Well, did they sit back and let the clip fade? Not a shot. Within hours, and I mean hours, guys, not days, the sharpest digital crew in modern politics flipped that NATO clip into something that nobody expected. An official rap video. Boom. Daddy's home. A banger beat. Trump's grin, the NATO chief's voice, Rubio's laugh, all spliced together in clips from the summit. Fighter jets, the president's seal. Guys, a flex that slammed across every feed in America. And they didn't leak it to an influencer. They dropped it from the official White House account, full send. And the second that it hit, the internet melted. Millions of views, not just thousands, millions of views, likes climbing by the minute, shares by the tens of thousands, people saving it, duetting it, remixing it, blasting it in bars, truck cabs, living rooms. Guys, even people who hate Trump could not scroll past it. They had to watch. They had to react. They had to admit, hey, the meme machine was back and it was bigger than ever. But here's what the smart folks actually noticed. This wasn't just a troll. This was a signal. It said, look, we know you think you can laugh this off. We know you think you can bury this bill in Senate red tape. But while you read paragraphs to an empty chamber, we're in your feed. We're in your living room. We're in your head. And your cheap stall is about to be the punchline. Because when you take a jab and flip it into a roar, when you take a joke into, when you turn a joke into a rallying cry, you don't just play politics. You control the culture. And when you control the culture, you control the momentum. And momentum, my friends, is crushing stale Senate games every time. I promise you. So the internet's blasting Daddy's home. The base is fired up. Haters are in meltdown mode. And Schumer, he tries to double down, pulling out, one of the oldest tricks in DC's dusty old playbook, the procedural stall. Yeah, sometimes, and if you have a parent that's over 65, you understand this. If you're over 65, you understand this too. Sometimes, unfortunately, Medicare feels like an endless maze of paperwork and stress, but it does not have to. Listen to Paulette Diener. She said, Chapter helped fix my son's Medicare nightmare that lasted over a year. They gave advice, they handled calls, and saved us money. What a blessing. Darlene Walraven also chimed in. She said, Chapter is saving me $200 a year. They made the mess simple. Guys, these are real people, literally real YouTube video viewers just like yourself who called Chapter and got some amazing results. So why haven't you done it yet? Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone number is 909-563-8279. Or better yet, hit them up on the web. Link in the pinned comment down below at askchapter.org/Ron. Breathe easy. It's totally free, and they're going to help you too, guys. So let's shift to the swamp, shall we? Because when you're outplayed in the open, you kind of crawl back into the shadows. This is exactly what Chuck Schumer did. So while the internet was memeing Daddy's home into every phone in America, Chuck Schumer and his Senate crew thought they had found an old dusty trick that they could just kind of like run the whole train dead in its tracks. He ordered the Senate clerk to read word for word every single page of President Trump's big, beautiful bill. And if you know DC, you know exactly what this stunt means. It's not about transparency. It's about due diligence. Psych. It's not even about due diligence. It is a stall tactic, pure and simple, guys. It's a desperate play to waste time. It's kind of like a filibuster, if you will, right? They want to drain the momentum. They want to drag out the clock. Like this is like, they're just trying to drag out the clock like we're playing sports. Like this is a basketball game in the fourth quarter, right? This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to slow President Trump's narrative down. And boy, did they laugh. Liberal pundits, you had legacy media, late night echo chambers. They all beamed as basically this poor clerk that started droning paragraph after paragraph to mostly empty Senate floor. Like hardly anyone was even in there, right? They clipped it. They ran on it. They had it on a loop. Look how clever we are. We are going to bury Trump's tax cuts in endless paperwork. That's what they said. But here's the catch, right? They thought they were so smart. But here's the catch. While they read every comma and footnote to each other, something else was actually happening right outside the chamber. And they never saw this coming. The White House didn't just shrug at the stunt. They turned it into fuel. Because every minute Schumer wasted reading this bill line by line was another minute millions more people watched Daddy's Home. I know, right? Another minute more. Another minute more people shared it and talked about it and wore the meme on their shirts and hats. Another minute, Trump's base got fired up that their tax cuts, their paychecks, their border funding was being toyed with a bunch of career time wasters. So instead of killing the bill, Chuck Schumer's big stall turned into the best free advertising Trump could have asked for. Every mainstream expert who thought this read aloud was going to break Trump's momentum didn't realize they just handed him a bigger megaphone. So let's be clear, guys. What exactly were Schumer and his pals trying to bury under that endless drone of legal text? What is in the so-called big, beautiful bill that had them so desperate to slow it down? Well, I think it's simple. It is the single largest tax cut plan for America's middle class that we've seen in decades. First, it extends President Trump's original tax cuts, the same cuts that turbocharged the economy before COVID ever hit. But this time, it goes even further, tipping the scales for everyday workers in ways the swamp never has done before. So Trump's largest tax cut plan is literally in motion. Picture this, guys. No more taxes on your tips. Waitresses, bartenders, hairstylists, truck stop diners. All of that money stays in your pocket, not Uncle Sam's. Same for overtime. Cops pulling double shifts, truckers doing a night haul, nurses picking up extra hours. No more backdoor tax penalties for working harder. And this is not all, guys. This bill is about closing the leaks, the same waste, fraud, and bloated bureaucracy that's plagued Obamacare and Medicare for years. This bill attacks all of that head on, cuts the fraud, cuts the waste, and protects people who actually need the help, not the freeloaders skimming billions of dollars. And add in the smart stuff, robust funding to finish President Trump's border security overhaul, cash to ramp up American manufacturing at home, real jobs, not shipped off to Beijing. And yes, defense investments to keep NATO honest, because daddy isn't footing Europe's bill for free anymore. And before Schumer's fear factory kicks in with the doom talk, here's the real kicker. The debt stays under control. Why? Because the same Trump tariffs bringing billions of dollars back from China help fund what matters without driving debt through the roof. Growth plus discipline. The swamp hates it because they just can't siphon it off the pet projects anymore. So the next time they tell you that this bill is some billionaire giveaway, remember this, guys. The swamp doesn't want you to know you keep more of what you earn. Okay? They don't want you to know that. And they cannot stand that President Trump made it that simple. But here's where it gets good. Because while Schumer was reading every line of this bill like a bedtime story to nobody, Trump was working the next piece of the plan behind the scenes. All right, so you got Schumer reading the big, beautiful bill out loud like it's some kind of a magic spell that's going to make Trump disappear. You got the entire legacy media patting him on the back, pretending that the stall will buy them time to be able to divide the GOP, right? But here's the part they never print on the front page, and they probably never will. Trump knew exactly who the real fight was with, and it wasn't just with the Democrats. You see, passing something this big, the largest middle-class tax cut in modern history, the border funds, the anti-fraud crackdowns, it only takes one or two Republicans getting squeamish to blow the dang thing up. And, of course, a few senators wanted tweaks. Okay, we're good. We can do that, right? A few holdouts tried to flex. Some of them even had some valid concerns, and Trump did not ignore them. He listened face to face. Take Rand Paul. Senator Paul stood up and said, hey, look, he would never vote yes if the bill included a fresh debt ceiling hike without real rail guards. Others like Tom Tillis worried about Medicaid, asking if states might get squeezed a little bit too tight to cover people honestly in need. Now, the old DC game is you bully these guys in the back rooms, trade pork for pork, and then you push the bill through at 3 a.m. But Trump, that's not how he rolls. He didn't strong arm them. He just worked with them. So he stayed right in D.C., skipped fancy fundraisers, hit the phones personally. He played a round of golf in Virginia, not for the cameras, but with senators who matter: Lindsey Graham, Rick Schmidt, Rand Paul himself, and John Ratcliffe. 4 top Republicans out there in the open, talking it out, hammering the details, getting those last minute putts in, getting real FaceTime. Because say what you want, guys, that's how deals get sealed when you're actually in charge. And what Trump did, what did he show them? Well, he didn't just say, oh, just trust me, right? He showed them the math, the tariffs covering the costs, the cuts balancing the spending, the timeline that keeps the debt to GDP ratio below what any swamp president in the last 20 years has managed. 94% with it, 117% without it. Numbers don't lie. And when they do, the swamp's the one cooking the books, not this team. So, and most important of all, he reminded them that this bill isn't a trophy for him. It's a lifeline for the people who voted for them. It's a lifeline for the people who voted them in. The truckers, the nurses, the diner workers, the cops pulling double shifts. They keep more of what they earn. They see the waste get cleaned up, and they see DC serve them for once, not the donor class or the lobbyists who normally get served. So while Chuck Schumer was reading line, 2013 of the bill to an empty chamber, Trump was calmly flipping senators from maybe to yes. Strategic, personal, relentless, and never once forgetting who he works for: the American people. That's leadership, guys, not just noise. And here's why Chuck Schumer's stall was doomed from day one, because this wasn't a president limping into a fight. Trump came in swinging with a winning streak. The swamp couldn't spin away even if they tried. So let's break it down this week alone. Remember, today, we're not talking ancient history, guys. We're talking what happened today and within the past week. Okay, Trump locked down a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, a flashpoint that could have really dragged the entire world into another forever war. No pallets of cash, no hidden deals, a firm line, a real deal, and actual calm. How about federal courts? After years of blockades, finally stepped back and cleared the path for President Trump's deportation orders, putting illegal immigration on the chopping block like he promised. Let's talk Wall Street. Well, Wall Street's blowing through record highs. Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ, all in record territory. Confidence is up. Retirement accounts are fatter. And that's before the big, beautiful bill even crosses the finish line. And don't forget about gas prices, 4-year lows as we roll into peak summer. Why? Because we're pumping our own energy again. No more borrowing or bowing down to OPEC or begging them, begging the green lobby for permission to drill a hole. So when you stack it all together, peace deals overseas, courts backing border security at home, the economy roaring, inflation cooling, and the big, beautiful bill right in the chamber, guys, that's not a lucky break. That's called momentum. And when you've got momentum, a swamp stall is nothing but background noise. But the best part, all of this winning, because all we do is win, all of this winning didn't just float in on its own. It was the same strategy that made the Daddy's Home meme more than a meme. Trump's team turned that viral rap song into a battering ram. And when the noise hit maximum volume, Schumer's last hope for dragging this bill to death fell apart real fast. Okay, so picture this now. Chuck Schumer, he got the Senate floor tied up in the world's longest bedtime story. Reporters are drowning out. They're just droning it out like it's breaking news. The clerk continues to read line 4,216 of the bill. Meanwhile, the American people, they're not glued to C-SPAN. They're glued to their phones. They're blasting out guys, they're on their phones, and what's blasting out of their feed is the same thing. Daddy's Home, right? What Chuck Schumer's crew did not understand, and still don't, is that politics is about control of the story. When the White House dropped that rap video, they didn't just troll the haters for fun. They made the stall itself look like a joke. Every second that dragged out, every second they dragged that clerk through another page, the meme got bigger, more clips, more remixes, people making TikToks in gas stations, bumping the track, fans dropping their own edits, news anchors forced to talk about it instead of Schumer's stunts. You see what happened here, right? And you know what happens when regular Americans see DC stuck reading legalese for hours while the White House is handing them real money back in their checks? They get mad. They get loud. They start calling, posting, sharing. The message hits clear. Stop reading and pass my raise. This is exactly what happened. The stall backfired. Instead of freezing the big, beautiful bill, it lit it on fire because all of a sudden, every day the stall dragged out, another chunk of the country asked, why is Schumer wasting time instead of letting us keep our tips? Why is Schumer blocking overtime tax cuts? Why is he protecting waste and fraud instead of border security? The more they stalled, the more they looked anti-worker. The ultimate swamp trap is what they fell for. And what's the final nail in the coffin? Even some Democrats, the ones that are up for re-election in tight states, they started sweating because their phone lines began blowing up too. Daddy's Home wasn't just a song, it was a signal. The administration isn't just passing a bill, it's putting your backroom tricks on blast 24/7. And when the lights come on, the roaches scatter. So how did it break? Simple. The votes locked in. The last Republican fence sitters, they saw the same tidal wave Schumer did. They felt the pressure. They saw the viral heat. They knew they couldn't come home for July 4th with a no vote tattooed on their foreheads. One by one, the quiet maybes flipped to yes. Rand Paul, satisfied, tighter debt language, spending guardrails, checks and balances. Tom Tillis, concessions on Medicaid flexibility so states could manage real coverage without gutting care for those who truly need it. Lindsey Graham rallying moderates to stay unified. Even the Freedom Caucus crowd, all the fiscal hawks who hate sloppy spending, they got the data and the deal, the tariffs, the cuts, the clawbacks on fraud, the leaner federal sprawl. And just like that, guys, Schumer's last card, the stall evaporated. The motion to proceed passed. The cameras caught Chuck's face as he realized that there was no more rope to pull, no more time to drag out. The Daddy's Home meme was pounding louder than any reading clerk could have ever drone on with. And President Trump, he didn't even strut. He didn't brag. He didn't need to. He just walked out of the West Wing, looked right into the press pool, and summed it up like only he can. We don't lose when we fight for the people. Now get ready because we're just getting started. Calm, strategic, patriotic to the core. Not for him, for you. So what does this breakthrough really mean? What's next when the stall is gone? The bill is moving and the swamp just took a punch right to the status quo. Well, let's step back for a second because it's kind of easy to see this. It's kind of easy to see this as just a meme or maybe just a bill or just another DC headline that comes and goes. But that's not what this was. Not even close. This was a message, a clear signal to every voter, every family scraping by, every taxpayer sick of being last in line while the swamp laughs behind closed doors. The old game is done. Think about it. They laughed when NATO's top man slipped and called Trump daddy. They laughed when Rubio couldn't hold it in. They laughed when the White House dropped a trap beat and put the word daddy on blast for millions. And they laughed when Schumer dragged out the dusty old Senate rule book, thinking hours of reading legal paragraphs would block the people's money, the people's border security, and the people's say in their own future. And what happened? Well, the meme became a battering ram. The music video became a rallying cry. The Daddy's Home remix wasn't just trolling. It was reminding the world that America's back in charge of its own story, that the swamp's stall tactics look pathetic when the people know who's fighting for them. Trump's team didn't hide in the back room trading floors. They took the fight straight to the people. They flipped holdouts with straight talk and real math, not pork barrel junk. They showed voters the bill in real English. Keep more of your money, end the taxes on your tips, end the taxes on your tips and overtime, plug the fraud, fund real border security, rebuild the factories, and bring the jobs home. This is what smart, strategic, patriotic leadership looks like. Not staged photo ops, not empty slogans, results, momentum, accountability. A president who stands toe to toe with NATO, China, the swamp, the mainstream media, and doesn't blink. Because in the end, he works for you. And they hate that more than anything else. So here we are. They laughed, but the laughs are gone. The big, beautiful bill is moving. The swamp's stall is stone cold dead. The tax cuts are on track to be the biggest in history for the working class. The borders getting real support finally, not just talk. Fraud is on notice. And the same people who thought that they could meme Trump into silence just found out he is the meme and he's the muscle behind it. So if you think this is the final move, think again, guys. Tariffs still rolling, new trade deals still cooking, new energy expansion fired up. America is not just back, it is in charge. And this win proves it is not slowing down. So keep your eyes up, guys, because if they thought Daddy's Home broke the internet once, just wait until they see what happens when this bill hits Trump's desk. And if you're still here watching this, you're a part of it. You're part of the push that left Schumer's speech. It left Schumer speechless and the swamp on defense, guys. Also, do not miss another critical update. Click the breaking news link in the pinned comment down below and join our community newsletter today. Share this video, talk about it. Tell your friends who still don't get it that they laughed, but you saw how it ended. Daddy's home. The stall is dead. And America more unstoppable than ever. So anyway, I'm glad you guys stayed to the end. And if you want to see what's next, don't blink because we're only just getting started.